It hadn't popped up yet. You know what I'm saying on my phone.
Doesn't it feel like Christmas?
You Destiny's Child now,
I don't know why that song is.
or you all the children?
I'm all of them.
I haven't been listening to Christmas music like I normally do.
Oh, that's what that says. Doesn't it feel like Christmas? I always listen to Christmas music.
No, I'm saying like I usually would have it like on almost every morning,
Yeah,
but I haven't done that. I've just kind of put it to like weekend and Christmas decorating, which
yeah.
I
You gotta
need to
finish that.
finish. I'm gonna finish it today.
We need to do the Grinch punch.
Yeah, we do the Grinch punch with all the children. Let
Yeah,
them have some,
yeah,
and then spike the adults
yeah.
if they so choose. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. Good morning. I feel like we doing the devotion at church. Good morning. Good morning.
Oh, okay.
Welcome again to the coffee break. Saturday morning coffee breaks with August Love Story.
Say I would never sign up to do the morning
I wouldn't
devotion,
either. When I
especially not at our church.
this is the funny thing. Funny story.
Hmm.
Growing up, I was a junior deacon.
That is funny. You be like two. See right
So
here. Good morning, D White. Is that what you did? You was like two. Come on.
no, I was an usher too. Like, but
That's what I was thinking was
oh
Usher, not the
no,
deacons.
the deacon. Like I was up there leading the songs, the devotion. Funniest thing ever. So it's me, this guy named Evan, guy named Monty.
This wasn't at your uncle's church,
No,
right?
this is at like the church me and my sister went to
Oh, okay.
growing up.
Good
Um,
morning, Juana.
Good morning. Um, so they just told us we was gonna be junior deacons. They didn't ask or anything like that. We like, okay, whatever. We grew up in this church, right?
Hmm. That's
So,
what happens. You get voluntold.
yeah. So you got us. We go to church. We wear suits and everything. We look like old deacons.
Hmm.
So it's our turn to lead the songs and the prayer in front of the church. And I'm like, man, I don't want to do this no more. We got to sit up there on the front row. Half the time we used to go to sleep. I'm like, man, everybody's looking at us, man. So yeah.
I'm happy the only forced church involvement I had as a kid was Easter speeches.
Oh man, we did a Easter play one time. Did not know my lines. I knew the gist of my
Terry
lines.
said, my first Easter speech, I had a song and pronounced the word family wrong.
What did you say?
Fantily.
Oh.
And it was like the line was like, God bless my family. And he was like, you saying God bless my family. You should ask him about it.
Yeah,
He always jokes about it.
man, that's too funny though. Just the things you had to do in church while growing up. Lead songs. I had to lead a song, man.
Never sang in a
And I
choir.
talked the song like I was Kirk Franklin throughout the whole song. Didn't sing one note.
I never had to do choir. All of my boy cousins that are right above
Yeah,
me did
yeah,
because that was their requirement to play in the church basketball league.
yeah.
Was
See, we ain't have a church basketball. I was sorry at basketball anyway. But that church, like,
it's kind of hard to not do the requirement when
yeah,
your auntie is the coach because my mama was the coach.
yeah.
So,
It's funny because like all of us went to what was it, youth fellowship.
mhm.
So we started as children in the sunshine band, and then when we got to like I think 12, we went over to the youth fellowship, which was Wednesday nights. We would go to church, do our thing and stuff like that. And then some Sundays we would have to sing, not every Sunday like the babies did. And so as we got older, we stopped wanting to do all of that stuff.
Of course, because you had your own a professional
Yeah.
opinion about how your
Yeah.
life should be.
Right. So it's. growing up in church was fun though.
It
You know,
was. I just did. I wasn't. I'm happy I wasn't forced to do a lot of
yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Like everything that I did at church was because I wanted to,
And it's crazy because my mom nor like me and my sister were the only two from my family that went to that church.
which is really
It's
strange.
weird because we started going to that church because of the lady that used to do my grandmother's hair. They had like a summer program that me and Renee used to go to,
Hmm.
and when we started going to that summer program, like we just continued going to the church,
Hmm.
you know, and because we kept going to the church, we got involved with the children's
Yeah, I
things, and then
became
yeah,
members.
got baptized and everything, man.
Well, look at
Why'd I
God.
cry?
I don't know. That's unlike you. Anywho, we can get into last week's thing because people been trying to tear me up in the comments on the shorts.
What happened?
Do you even watch football?
She does it
I do.
occasionally.
I watch enough to know what's going on.
Who said something about my wife?
No, it was just talking about Dion going to Colorado. Last week it hadn't been announced
Yeah,
yet. And then the very next day,
we're like part two.
it was like, he's going.
I didn't see that coming. I was surprised that he like that was announced. I just thought it was just them talking.
It wasn't even that. Like I was surprised, yes, but like I'm saying what people are getting upset about is because they're not listening.
Yeah,
Cuz my question to you was, do you think he's made enough of an impact to where people are still going to be like, send your kids to HBCUs, go to HBCUs, and they're like, Dion has done more than enough as a coach. I was like, I never questioned his coaching ability, skill set, or anything like that.
to answer your question, I think no.
Me too.
I don't think that that's gonna happen because the thing is, it's like we, me,
Mhm.
right? I went to a PWI, and I don't understand what's the needs of an HBCU. All I know from a football standpoint is you don't see HBCUs or any HBCU sports.
They lack visibility.
Right. So it's a sense of people that aren't going to colleges, right? People
Hmm.
that aren't um versed in the college. A lot of times the athletes that's going first, second generation people who are going to college.
Hmm.
A lot of those first generation people may or may not have went to a HBCU. So we're looking at 50-50 chance that there's a maybe a 60-40 chance that there's a possibility that this person has heard about an HBCU. Now let's get to the athlete. The athlete's trying to go to the next level.
Hmm.
Knowing college is the step to get to the next level. What's the best way for you to get there?
I only know of one person who actually like went to college at a D1 school with no league aspirations whatsoever. And it wasn't ingrained in him.
Yeah.
Um, he literally went to college, played football for the free education so that he could become a doctor. And
Nobody
he is
thinks
a doctor now.
yeah, nobody thinks about that at 18.
Right.
So that's amazing. I know you're talking about. Shout out to him, man.
Right. Like it's we weren't like friends or anything, but associates because of
Yeah,
all of our friends. Like I was friends with a couple of guys that played
yeah,
football. But it's been amazing to like just see that, this was what his dream was, this was what his goal was. And as great of a football player he was in college, he still was like, I have no desire to do that whatsoever. Like, I'm trying to be doctor.
yeah. But I think with Deion Sanders, like I don't want to take anything away from Deion Sanders because I think what he's done in the 3 years has been amazing, has been great, has been awesome.
Hmm.
Is it sustainable? I don't think so because of how special Deion Sanders is.
Hmm.
And
And I think that's what they're missing is the in parentheses two HBCUs.
yeah,
They think we're talking about Deion Sanders. Like, can Deion Sanders sustain another school? Absolutely.
Right. It's him. It's prime time. Only thing he's doing is getting the athletes to come because athletes are attracted to him because he does have that connection to the league and he's the greatest cornerback DB ever to play.
Hmm.
You know, he's such a he understand he's going to get these players paid
Hmm.
pretty much. He's going to draw them the attention that they need. He's going to get them where they need to go. He turned the bottom JSU and I never paid attention to it, but the strategy that he's taken for his career because who wouldn't want to coach at the at the top schools, right?
Hmm.
Um the trajectory that he's playing for his career, he went from being an assistant high school coach, right?
Hmm.
He was the offensive coordinator, I think, or the defensive coordinator, one of the two. It
I
makes it,
remember watching
yeah,
the clips,
right.
but I never knew what his position was.
That high school won 4 state championships straight.
Hmm.
Um, with his son being the quarterback.
Hmm.
Um, went to JSU. JSU was at the bottom, right? Worst team. They're they playing for the Celebration Bowl today
Hmm.
to have an undefeated season. Well, actually, they've gotten an undefeated season, but a true like the whole season, nobody
Hmm.
beat them. Today at 12 on ABC, y'all check that out. Uh,
Are you doing a commercial?
right. What else? He went 27-5, and now he's at Colorado. So, like Colorado's worst team in the Power Five
Hmm.
for the last 15, 20 years. So it's okay. How does he turn this team around? Because he's going places and winning.
Hmm.
That was the same thing I thought about Cam Newton. Cam Newton went to every level and won, except for the pros. He didn't win the Super Bowl, but he was MVP of the league, one of the top quarterbacks.
I remember when I met Cam Newton, had no idea who he
Really,
was. Not a clue.
I always liked
It was his
Cam Newton.
rookie season.
I like Cam Newton. Cam Newton won in high school, won a state championship in high school, won the national championship in junior. He went to a junior college, won there, won the national championship at Auburn, went to the league, won the MVP, didn't win the Super Bowl, but he was there. Um, so it's like he's just a winner. Deion Sanders, prime time, a winner. You know what I'm saying? So it's yeah, it's great that he left to go to Colorado because it's a part of his plan, and I'm not upset about that. But the thing about it is, what's the goal for HBCUs? Because everybody came into this thing thinking, "Oh, he's finna change. He's finna do X, Y, and Z for HBCUs because this is what he said he was going to do."
Hmm. And there wouldn't have been a collective outrage if he had gone to Hampton or Howard or
Not because he's going to another HBCU.
Bethune Cookman. Like nobody would have said anything, but because it was like, what was he? What did he keep saying? I'm swag.
Yeah, yeah, he's
And
swag.
now you not. So
No,
it's just
he's Pac-12 now.
right.
But that's big though. That's the thing that I hate is that we can't celebrate that the idea of a black coach. This is like we got a black head coach. It's not a lot of black head coaches in college football, like
Football period.
on the
Once
D1
you leave
FBS.
high school, and even there, I don't know because I don't know any black head coaches for high
Like
school.
it's for high
I'm
school.
saying I don't know
Oh,
any.
like look at all the anyway. But I just think he's joining a league that does not promote a lot of black coaches. Now
Hmm.
his staff is very black that he's developing. He does have a couple um, white coaches and stuff like that, but he's went to one of the whitest towns. I mean Boulder. I mean, is it Boulder?
Yeah, I never
Boulder,
looked up the
Colorado.
demographics of Boulder. We were talking about that the other night.
Yeah. He brings up he talks about the crime, which I wonder does that have anything to do with um the crime and if he was referring to crime back in Jackson or something like that.
Black people aren't even in the five largest ethnic groups in Boulder.
Yeah. Who are white and what else?
Uh, white non-Hispanic is at 79. White Hispanic is at 7. Asian non-Hispanic is 5.85. Two or more non-Hispanic is 3.17, and two or more Hispanic is 1.58. Next is
Yeah,
black people at 1.2%.
that's crazy. But so it's for me. I think what he's done at Jackson State is great.
Mm-hmm.
What he's done for HBCUs and the attention that is brought is awesome. I think 1, 2, 3 years it'll go back to how it was previously.
That's interesting. Boulder is the most affluent, medium sized city in the country and fourth most affluent out of 942 cities across the country.
Yeah,
That's interesting as
and
a
then let's talk
statistic.
about this too:
Oh, wait, that's from 2014, though. So,
300,000 versus 5 million a year. I mean, like, if he's going to do the same thing
mm-hmm.
at this other place, just in another place, but you're gonna get what's that? Uh, so much like you. We're talking about 5 million versus 300,000,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't have to come. You don't have to give half of. You're not giving half of it away to help with the
Which he
school.
shouldn't have been needing to do,
But
considering the agreement that he entered
right,
into.
he shouldn't have to, but he did it out of the kindness of his heart of what he was.
Well, no, I'm just saying, not that I'm saying like them coming in telling him that you can get a percentage of the ticket sales. He's
Oh yeah,
generated the ticket sales. Ticket sales are directly related to athletics. The athletics department should be
yeah,
benefiting from that.
yeah.
It shouldn't take his salary.
Right.
It should literally be the money that the athletics department is generating.
Yeah, but they also, I know you've heard the rumors about him not um getting paid. Like they was the agreement.
That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, I was like, I mean,
He should have been getting that money if
yeah,
it was the
if it
agreement.
was the agreement, they saying that it wasn't 30,000. The place seats 30,000 plus. They was selling out the place. When ESPN Game Day came, he definitely should have got paid off of that.
I
But
agree.
I digress with that because I don't know. There's still rumors. There's nothing proven out there, and it probably never will be. But I think Deion
It doesn't
Sanders,
benefit him anything
yeah,
to dispel rumors at
right.
this
I
point.
think Coach Prime is awesome. I think what he's doing in the coaching world, what he's doing with kids, trying to be that conduit to the NFL. Um, I think that's great. Now for
Mhm.
the kids that's playing in Colorado, I don't think a lot of them gonna, you know, either they not gonna get in or they not gonna be there. But I think Colorado is gonna get an influx of great players.
Perhaps. We can switch gears away from football
Let's do it.
and talk about sports still. Brittany Griner came home.
How do
She
you feel
touched
about that?
down in Texas yesterday.
Yeah,
I'm happy that she was released. Everybody's going through and becoming a political analyst. And interestingly enough, I had a concentration in political science, and I have no opinion on foreign affairs as it relates to Brittany Griner. I can't say it was an even trade.
it
Um,
definitely wasn't an even trade.
that's what I'm saying. Like, but who am I?
No, you can look at it. Look at the
No, I
crimes.
completely get. No, I'm saying I get that, but um, my I guess my question is, why does Russia want this guy in particular back so bad?
The evil Tony Stark.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would think because he's Russian,
I mean, I get that.
but I I don't know, man.
I was watching something and they were talking about the Britney getting sentenced to um 9 years because that was around how much was left on this guy's sentence, so that it would be
A swap.
a yeah, a swap in terms of sentencing.
Oh, I mean,
They're like, you can hold our guy for another 10 years, but we got your girl for 9.
the crazy part about it is they had somebody already over there. The
Mm-hmm.
Paul Whelan guy,
Mm-hmm. But Paul Whelan is no Brittany Griner
right?
as
He's
far as
right,
to the American
right,
public.
right, right. So the thing about it is from Russia's standpoint, they realize like, hey, we have something here, and it sucks. You know, I hate that it was like she was used as a pawn because I mean, like at the end of the day, she's human,
Mm-hmm.
and what she had on her was not. She wasn't drug smuggling. It was just like what she said. It was from hasty packing. Like she just forgot it was in there, or but she wasn't taking it with her to sale or anything like that. It was hers.
Mm-hmm.
You know, yeah, it should have been a thing of just throw this away and go forward, but it wasn't. So I'm glad she's home. Hopefully, we can, as a country, we can look and see what's up with Paul Gleason because they were talking about still doing other trades too. So I hate to see people locked in cages, and I hate to see people locked in cages for unnecessary reasons or reasons that they didn't, you know, falsely locked in a cage. So, um,
I wonder if there could have been a negotiation of any sort that would have gotten both of them together.
they what they wanted was just people for people. That's what it was. Now, what Russia is going to do with their guy, I don't know, but I think Brittany Griner has to get a pardon from the United States or something like that because she's maybe not, but mm,
Why would she need a pardon
I
from the
don't know.
United
I
States?
was just making something up.
Oh, okay.
It sounded good when I was saying it. It didn't.
Mm-mm.
Uh, well, I thought it did when it came out.
um, yeah, I'm happy that she's been able to come home and be with her family because she hadn't been that long before she got arrested, got married, right?
Yeah, she got married in 2019.
Oh, it was 19, so I guess it
Yeah,
wasn't. It's been a couple of years
yeah.
because they were still talking it up as newlyweds. I
I
had
mean,
forgotten about
I mean, they in within the
Britney's.
2 years.
Yeah, I had forgotten about Britney's like conflicted love life until I was reading about like her coming home, and I was like, dang, she did marry Glory.
Yeah, they got into a fight first, and then they got married.
Mm-hmm.
Um, when do you get the newlywed knocked off of? Are we
Mm-hmm.
still newlyweds?
No, we are old and married.
Are we?
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah. So they've been married what 2 years, and she been fighting too, boy.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I think the thing about it is her celebrity helped out so much.
Mm-hmm. I'm sorry to laugh because there wasn't. I'm not laughing at the celebrity thing. I just looked at the notes that you edited, and I did not know about this selling weed.
Oh, you didn't?
No,
You for real?
I'm serious. I did not see this story.
let
You can
me
go and talk
let
about
me
it.
see. Can I find it for you real quick? So Jamal Bryant,
Mm-hmm.
uh, he went on some show. I don't know what the show was. I don't watch it. Um, but he basically was like his church has land,
Mm-hmm.
right? The church has land, and he was like he wants to get the people that smell like weed, the
mm-hmm.
boys and
Oh.
the boys that smell like weed and stuff like that, um, and teach them how to farm it,
Mm-hmm.
just so they come to church and they can whatever reason gets them to church, it gets them to church and in the congregation and paying attention because he can use the land to show them how to cultivate the land and everything
We can't grow cucumbers.
and grow like he's like I'm gonna grow what you want.
I get it, but it's not legal.
Is it and that's the issue. That's the problem. It's not legal, you know. And the fact that it's not legal, it's like I see your vision, right?
Mhm.
I see your vision, but you can't do that. You're gonna have everybody in the church in jail,
Mm.
man.
We still gotta follow the law of the land.
Yeah, yeah. But if you bought land in other countries, I mean not countries, but other states where it is legal, you do what you have to do. Um, then there's a thing. But the only thing about that is it's not where your church is.
Mhm. Oh,
So
he was on Rashawn Ali's podcast talking about this.
oh yeah.
You don't know who Rashawn Ali is, do you?
No clue. Is that a
She
singer?
no. She used to be on the radio on
V103.
Streets 94.
Oh,
She had the morning show on there, and I think that they kicked her morning show off to syndicate the Breakfast Club,
yeah,
maybe.
that's what comes on now.
Yeah. And so she's pivoted quite a bit. She
Podcasting makes sense though.
yeah. That's interesting. I'm not against having a cannabis business by any means.
I'm not against rap. I'm not against rappers. But I am against those
Well, I don't
thugs.
I don't smoke. But I can't say that I take issue with it. It's not for me.
Yeah.
However, you can't just be growing weed at the church.
Yeah. No.
Like, you could probably draw some parallels and be like, hey, y'all got these brassicas. You can take care of them like you
Got
would
a what?
a cabbage.
Oh.
You could be like, I got these seeds. You can take care of these seeds in a similar fashion to the seeds y'all, the herb y'all want to grow.
Yeah.
And this is what you would do if.
But it excuse me. It's man, the idea, right? Just the idea of how do I get people because he's like you think of Ingo, how do I get more butts in the seats
Mhm.
here at church and hearing what I'm saying?
I wonder how has their membership been, or their not membership, their attendance
Yeah.
been since 2020. I do know, and that's a question we can ask Jack and Glenn because they went to service there
Oh yeah.
when they were in
Yeah.
town. I haven't been to New Birth since Jamal Bryant took over.
I've never been.
Um,
Haven't.
mm-mm.
Oh,
I went once, like
that's funny. I have to ask you.
years ago, like before we were even together, before I lived here.
Yeah.
It was when I went to New Birth. So I haven't been to New Birth in at least, it's been over a decade, probably
Yeah.
like 20 years. But yeah, I wonder how the attendance situation is working, and you got to do more than just teach people how to say not sell, grow
Well, I think it's a
weed.
not sale, but I think like I ain't gonna lie to you. I think it's a good idea, you know, to bring like if your ultimate goal is to bring people more, getting more involved or getting to church, and the carrot on the stick or the thing that you dangling is I'm gonna teach you how to grow your weed because you
Mhm.
like weed, like you like smoking weed because you smell like it. I'm gonna teach you how to grow it, but you have the stipulation is you have to come to church.
My thing is does everybody that smoke weed want to know how to grow the weed, or are they just comfortable smoking the weed?
Most people are just comfortable smoking it, but the idea of actually growing it, like you think about us and growing like our garden.
Mhm.
before we started growing our garden, we just like going to the grocery store and getting the food and coming back home and cooking it. And not necessarily like cooking it, but we gotta eat.
Mhm.
For some people, they gotta have it. And that's just an easier way for them to have it. And once you like not everybody's gonna be on board with trying to grow it, but somebody. Like cause the goal is reach one, teach one, right? If you can reach one, you can teach one. But
Mhm.
the first thing you have to do is reach that person. That's my olive branch. I have this land. I'm gonna let you cultivate weed on it. But I'm gonna also teach you, you know. And I mean, that's a you know.
I think he needs a second opinion.
I mean, like, yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Like,
The fact of the matter is it's not legal.
right. Well, I'm saying I always find it interesting, and I have a friend from high school who's a pastor now.
Yeah.
He's always talking about he's been a youth pastor most recently. He's always talking about what gets young people coming to church. Because for all purposes at this point in life, we are not young people anymore. You are married with children. You are not young people. um when people are always talking about like the church is always talking about how to get young people in church, I think that they miss, like, as a kid, not a young adult, but as a kid, church and church activities were fun. Like, I used to be a part of a nonprofit group that held Monday night club.
Yeah.
It wasn't going to the club.
Yeah.
It was literally Bible study.
I got
They picked us up from school, they fed us,
you.
we had Bible study, we were home by 8:30. When they picked us up from school, they had a portion of the first part that was dedicated to just homework. But then they had us get our community service hours in too with it, because Tuesdays they would have the older kids come in and read to the younger
Yeah.
kids and help them with their homework. Like, we had something that we were able to be involved at any age, from well, any part of the age range from like 4 years old to adulthood. There was a day of the week that was designed for you to come in and do something, but Mondays were for everybody.
Mm.
Um, and a lot of us continued that into adulthood. I left, so I couldn't
Yeah.
continue it into
Yeah.
adulthood. But you gotta find something. And I mean, me learning how to grow weed, even if I was interested in it, is not gonna make me want to go to church.
Yeah. No, I get that, but I mean, it's the analogy I always use when trying to figure out something is throw a bunch of ideas at the wall, do them, see what sticks,
Mhm.
and go forward with that. Because we obviously know his goal is not just to reach that one group of people,
Mhm.
but to ultimately bring more people into um, his teachings, like his
Mhm.
church. And that's just one way to do it. Let me meet the people. That's his way of meeting the people where they are.
Mhm.
You know, I imagine that it's a wee bit tougher today after COVID than it was before COVID, um, because just the like for people, it's been first off 1 year. People had to figure out, okay, can't go to church. What do I do? Not working. What do I do? You know,
Mhm.
now it's okay. I've gotten into a routine for my Sundays. Can't really go to church physically. I can listen to it or whatnot, but I wasn't listening to it in the first place. You know,
Mhm.
that's a new thing for me. I'm not really into it. Okay, then you move on to the next thing. So it's like the challenge of getting people into the church is more hurdles now just because of the things that we had to go through in the past.
Mhm.
So um Funny story, and then we can move on about a preacher. So I don't know how I got here. Just scrolling one day on Facebook,
Mhm.
and you know them little judge shows, right?
Mhm.
So it was a pastor and a deacon.
Mhm.
Apparently, the pastor was having sexual relations with the deacon's wife. You seen this?
Mm.
Oh, yeah, with the deacon's wife. So the deacon was up there suing the pastor for charges that he received or something like that. He was suing the pastor.
Mhm.
So apparently the deacon and the wife were like I guess separated or something like that. But the pastor was that's Lily.
I was saying, I hear a child.
I was like, wait, this child is talking. That's Lily. Uh so
We won't be on here much longer.
nah. So the pastor was like basically having sex with his wife. But then the deacon the uh brought the secretary.
Mhm.
She's an older lady.
Mhm.
Brought the secretary onto the like as a witness, and she was like, "Well, I found the ticket, the receipts, and everything," and she was taken aback from what she saw, and the pastor was like, "What?" He basically was like, "You jealous and blah blah this and blah blah that." Apparently, the pastor was hitting the secretary too.
That's why she was taken aback.
That's why she was taken because she thought she was the only one.
Was the pastor man?
I don't know if the pastor was married, but he was hitting the women in the church.
Obviously.
He was doing a different type of pastoring. Um, but yeah, so that was my story. I just found that story to be like outlandish and outrageous, man. So
That's wild.
that is wild, man.
Let's see. What else did I put on here?
Reverend Senator Warnock won.
He did win. Who we was nervous around here in Georgia.
I'm just curious the people that like as a country, we gotta get better um candidates, right?
Mhm.
We can't get these candidates where like nobody's perfect,
Mhm.
but if your thing is I'm gonna just talk about you until I can't talk about you anymore. Like I don't feel like that's real campaigning. Like
Mhm.
what are you gonna do? And I feel like this is what happened, especially in this runoff.
Mhm.
Like literally, Warnock's commercials were or ads were uh just stuff that Herschel Walker had said.
Mhm.
I was
But
like,
that's how it gets once you get close to the end of political
I
campaigns too.
understand that. But it's like he didn't talk. He said, "I'm going to let him tell you himself why he's a bad candidate." Like we have to get better candidates to vote for, Republican and Democratic and Independent, whatever, because it's gotten to a point to where like we are choosing the lesser of two evils. Like I'm not saying Reverend Warnock is a bad candidate. He talks like he has some sense and he has some actual policies that he wants to implement and stuff like that. But what I'm talking about is we had a candidate. And no, I'm not digging at Herschel Walker or anything like that. But we all know Herschel Walker wasn't even a citizen of Georgia. Like
Right.
he did not live in Georgia,
He
right?
bought a house here
He
to
bought it
run.
to run. That's not he was born and raised in Georgia, then he moved.
Mhm.
That's like me going back to Tennessee to run for office while I'm living here, you know. Um this man didn't have anything to stand on, right? And he
Mhm.
literally was up there to be a placeholder and these people voted for him. Where it could have been another candidate that's better qualified and understands what he's doing and trying to do and that could give a better um competition towards Warnock.
Mhm.
Like the thing is, it's like people voted for Herschel Walker, and Herschel Walker literally got on stage and said, um, "I wanted to be a werewolf because they kill vampires." Like we had a candidate who was talking about watching a movie that he wanted to be a werewolf versus a vampire because the werewolves can kill vampires. This man,
I kept seeing that online and I was like, what are y'all talking about? So I had to go look it up and I was like, I don't understand.
right? The stuff like he's like Herschel Walker was a great football player. He should have stayed where he was and out of the political arena because all this stuff that like for you to say, "Hey, I'm against abortion," and then you paid for women's abortions
And gave a card.
and said thank you. Being an absent father to your children, like all these things, like if you know you're not doing 100% right on things, especially when it comes to family, why would you put yourself in that position? Same question I asked about Trump. I was like, why put yourself in a position to be like looked at like that?
Hmm.
Like they're gonna look at everything because you're in the public now.
Well, that's the thing.
We just have to get
Historically,
better candidates.
historically, people pick one issue, and that's the issue that they're willing to die on, right?
Hmm.
And the issue for most of Georgia for this Senate race was abortion. And they looked at it, the people that voted for Walker looked at it as okay, he did it then, but he against it now. And that's what they were voting on.
Yeah, I just man,
Because there can only be one issue that plagues us
I
as a
I
nation at
think
a time.
I think, and I don't really like talking about this either, but I think abortions, like I don't get what the fuss is, right? Because
You mean like why collectively people are up
like
in
why is
arms
this
about it?
such a one side or the other side
That
issue?
it's the issue. Like because from what I'm deducing, the reason that a lot of white people don't want abortions is because abortions is no longer making them the majority.
Hmm.
Not sure how true that is, but that's my deductive reasoning. And we have to be abortion against them because we're killing our people, as in white people, right?
Hmm.
So you make that the number one issue, and if you beat people in the head with something enough, that's all they're thinking about. So that is the issue that this race was framed on. Because when people talk about other things in this Warnock Walker race, the very first thing they bring up is abortion.
Hmm.
There are a million other issues that we have as Georgians.
Oh yeah.
That is not the
Well,
issue.
it's two things for me, right? Everything is so sexualized, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like we're talking like just regular TV.
Mm-hmm.
It's so sexualized. Like you truly have to watch what you're letting your children watch
Mm-hmm.
because of how sexualized it is. Like as the saying say, sex sells.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you are what you watch or indulge or you are what it is that you're putting your efforts and mind into,
Mm-hmm.
if sex is always there,
Mm-hmm.
you don't think more sex is going to happen. So if you have more times to do it,
Mm-hmm.
there's the risk of you have the more risk of having a baby, catching an STD, something like that, right?
But you can't, as a senator, control
Right. You
TV.
can't. You can't. So the fact that you can't do that, um, of course you're gonna have more, you know, people pregnant that really shouldn't be pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
But, it happens. Now I think the rule is like I think up until a certain point you can't really have an abortion because I think that's it's not good for you, and you waited this long to figure it out. You pretty much is you waited too long, right? The second part of that is, I think they were saying the 6 week rule.
Mhm.
Well, most of the time you don't find out that you're pregnant until 6 weeks.
I knew I was pregnant with Lily.
We were trying.
No, I'm getting to something. I knew that I was pregnant with Lily around the 3 week mark, but when I went to the doctor to try to confirm that there was a baby there via ultrasound,
Mhm.
they couldn't find. They couldn't find. They saw the sac. The sac looked empty. There was no heartbeat.
Yeah,
I had to come back 5 weeks later.
yeah.
By that judgment alone, you're over the 6 week mark.
I just feel like we're putting too much emphasis on abortion and not enough on homelessness,
Which is plaguing us.
not enough on
Crime.
crime, poorness, gun control, like all of these things. Like we have bigger issues
Hmm.
than to, you know, and I hate to say it like this because I don't want to offend anybody, than to, like some people have to have abortions because it's them or this
Or the baby.
or the baby,
Hmm.
you know.
I
That's
understand
the
what you're saying, and that's what I was saying as well. With we pick an issue, and that's what we're going to hammer home
hmm
is that issue. And unfortunately for this Senate race, that issue was abortion. I feel like again, Georgia has so many other issues plaguing us.
and then it's if you're against abortion, right?
Don't have
100%.
any.
If you're 100% against abortion, when this story came out with Herschel Walker saying that he paid 2 times
Hmm.
for an abortion,
Hmm.
why would you even still vote for him? If you're against it, he obviously is using it.
Hmm.
He he, he made the decision that I think the decision should be left in the hands of the mama and the daddy.
The interesting thing with that is Herschel made his decision, and I equate that to I don't remember who said it, but they were like people like rural town Republicans view Donald Trump as one of them, right? And they're like, I could be rich tomorrow. I just ain't got all my money yet. He's just like me. He just got his money first,
He
right?
was born with it.
You get that, right? But
Donald Trump is a terrible example to be talking about like
I'm
I'm poor. He never was
this
poor.
was just an example.
Yeah.
But it's like I'm like them. I just haven't gotten all my money yet. So people are like looking at Herschel like I'm like him. He just made a mistake.
Twice.
Doesn't make it any less of a mistake.
But it's
You get? Do
yeah,
you
I
understand
get
what I'm
what you're saying.
saying? I'm not saying the logic isn't flawed.
Yeah.
I'm just saying this is the tunnel
Yeah.
vision
No, I get
that is there.
you. Yeah. Well,
Anywho,
we're not going. Herschel Walker lost.
Jalen Smith, an 18-year-old in Earl, Arkansas, became the youngest black mayor in the United States. This 18-year-old, the town has about 2,000 people. They didn't even have 500 people vote. He got 218 votes and his opponent got 139. And it makes me wonder, how did the opponent that got the 139 feel about being beat by an 18-year-old? I wonder if he got his graduating class to vote for him.
Of course he did. Of course. Like why wouldn't you? Hey, vote for me.
They be like,
He probably did it out of a joke and then was like, "Oh snap! I got a real chance of winning this."
I wonder
Um,
did he actually like campaign?
hey, shout out to him though, man.
Right.
That's amazing.
It is.
He graduated in May, and now he's the mayor of his city that he grew up in.
Mhm.
That's the way it should be.
Tell people, hey, I'm the mayor.
You remember the show?
Yes, I do remember the show, The Mayor.
and the Tommy T curse.
Yep.
Well, I'm glad everybody's working except somebody. Somebody's not working. The main guy, I think, he might be working. I don't remember. But
I don't
yeah,
know.
shout out to him, man. That's amazing.
And that's pretty much all I got. The only other thing I wrote was that they announced the new opponent for the Southern Heritage Classic. That's University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff.
Yeah.
So they'll be playing TSU.
So we going to some Colorado games.
No,
A Colorado game.
no,
I would like to go to a Colorado game.
I have no desire.
Only reason
I
is because skiing. Anyway, go ahead.
have no idea where you going with that.
Yeah,
Anywho, this has been fun. I feel like it turned into like a hot topic thing.
it did, man. Like, um, I don't know, man. It's just how I felt. I think I've been indulging in the Deion Sanders thing all week.
You definitely
Like,
have.
cause I think it's interesting. I like strategy and like seeing how the strategies playing out and stuff like that. And that's why I feel like Deion Sanders at this point is playing
Mm-hmm.
a strategy game because he's bringing in his own team, like his players.
Mm-hmm.
He's gotten to a point to where he hasn't been an assistant. He's had head coaching job and then got another head coaching job, you know. And I'm really curious to see how Shadur's, his son, how his talent translate to the Power Five schools. Like he's playing much more talent and everything like that. And how Deion Sanders' team pulls together. Like what all the pieces he puts together and how successful they can be because I'm almost certain that they're gonna do better than what they did this year. Like they're gonna be improving,
They should.
because they're getting better players, you
Mm-hmm.
know. Um yeah, I'm just curious to see how it goes. Now that he has the resources and the things behind him, because $5 million, yeah, that's resource.
Although they said they don't have all his money yet.
Yeah, with that, and that's another thing too. Would you come out and say that?
No, absolutely not.
I would not say
They
that.
like we ain't got all the money,
We
but
ain't
we
got
got
all of it.
some of it.
We
And
got
like
some of
when
it.
he come in and like people want to come to the game, we're gonna get the rest of it then.
Yeah, yeah. Well, the good thing about it, they don't have to pay him all of it at one time.
Yeah.
Now, I don't want them to go broke trying to pay him, but
They probably gonna do like they did at UT.
what?
Um, they'll turn if they are not paying for their student tickets, they'll start adding in
Yeah,
ticket fees.
yeah.
They'll figure out a way to recoup the
Oh,
money.
yeah. So I don't know. Good luck to all of them. Good luck to everything. You guys, thank
That's
you
funny. That's why I stopped going to football games.
because
When
they
they was like
required us.
$90, I was
It
like,
was
no,
$90.
for the season.
Oh,
I was
I was
like,
like,
no, I'm not giving you guys $90 when I didn't pay anything last year.
right.
I watch it on TV.
I think I went to one game after we started having to pay for it. And I was like, nah, I'm straight.
It just wasn't the same. It's not the same as getting in line with your Vol card or all your friends' cards
Yeah,
and swiping them so
yeah.
y'all get tickets together.
Everybody standing in line, like, yeah,
Yeah,
no,
it
it
wasn't the
wasn't the
same.
same. We Reggie used to do that all the time for us.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah. Anyway,
Anywho, see y'all next
this coming
Saturday.
week, I'm gonna continue to say it until it happens.
I gave him an out. He hasn't taken it yet, but we'll see.
Yeah. So, all right, guys.
Bye, y'all.
Peace.